This evening, we are doing appetizers, and we have it as March Madness themes. Everybody knows that basketball is in full swing, and March Madness starts tomorrow, I believe. Okay, it'll start out as what, 32, and then goes to 16, and then down to 8, and then 4, and then to 2. Personally, I don't watch basketball, but we try and stay up with it. Okay, so we're going to do 3 different snacks, I guess you could say, this evening that kind of relate to parties or tailgating or watching sports or hanging out or just any old good thing. We are going to do pizza bites, okay? Now, I'm going to say it now and I'll say it later. If you don't like something in it, change it, okay? We're doing sausage today just because it's easy, it's convenient, and it's something that most people like, but you can put peppers, onions, jalapenos, anything you can imagine in these, okay? So it's just more of an idea. Take it and run with it. The second thing we're going to do, or sooner or later, is our guacamole with crab. If you don't like the crab, we can leave it out. We're going to put it in today, though. And it is avocado base. We're going to add onions and cilantro, tomatoes, limes, jalapenos, and some hot sauce. And then the third thing that we'll do is going to be an ultimate loaded nachos. Okay? Everybody makes nachos. This is just going to be nachos with everything you can imagine on it. The biggest thing that I've always seen with nachos is that people make this giant mound of nachos, and they put a little bit of stuff on top, and then there's nothing on the bottom. So we're going to show you to spread it out a little bit and then how to work with it. Okay? All right, the first thing we're going to start with is our little pizza bites, because they take the longest, and we got to get them in the oven. Everyone is familiar with this, right? We'll see if I can't make my mom scream. Every can for the last umpteen years, it opens and she screams. It's kind of comical. See what I mean? All right, we're just using biscuits. Any form of canned, soft, ready-to-use biscuits works. I picked Texas-style butter. Doesn't really matter. They're on sale. They're $1 a can, okay? So it's really a relatively inexpensive way to do this. I have an extra one up here so we can see. First thing you want to do is make sure you spread them all out. And I am going to do the whole can real quick because I want you to see it doesn't take real long to work with this. Basically, you're just going to press them all out like pizza dough. You want to stretch them a little bit with your fingers, and you want to make sure they're all relatively evenly consistent. You can see as I'm stretching them, I'm using all of my fingers, and I'm working it around in a circle. And that's just so you don't pull holes. Spin that one. Pretty sure the only way I'm going to spin it is like this. Do you need the overhead on? I can do it real quick. Let me switch. I'll get that on real quick. Get these back on real quick. Again, back to our biscuit dough. We're simply stretching it out. And you want to stretch it so it's large enough because, as you can see, we're going to fill it and fold it. So you want to make sure it's big enough to work with, but it's not too thin to where you're actually going to punch holes through it. It may take a time or two to play with it, kind of get a feel for it. But if you can get it to about 4 or 5 inches around, that's a good thing. And if you press them out first and then kind of go through them afterwards, it makes it a whole lot easier. You just want to lay them all out on the cutting board. I like to do them separate and then move them just because you can get them a lot closer on your tray. If you try and do them all in the tray, you're going to have a lot of space between them because you have to leave them open and then fold them out. You don't have to be real gentle with them. They're kind of forgiving. And I'm actually going to try something real quick just to prove a point. I tore one. Oops. We should be able to take this and fold it right back over and press it right back together, and it still works. Okay, so if you're not too gentle and it does break, it does have a problem, it's just dough. You can squeeze it and make it work, okay? Get these last couple stretched out. And I'm not using any flour on these or anything to stretch them. It's just pure, straight biscuits. And there is quite a bit of butter in them. I did pick the buttery ones because, you know, me and health food is the way to go. All right, we have them all laid out. The first thing I'm going to do is take my pizza sauce and a little tablespoon. You should go right in the center with them all. Then we're going to go back with our cheese. I use mozzarella because that's just what pizza is to me. Feel free to use something else if you like something different. If you wanted to use cheddar or pepper jack or Colby jack or anything you can imagine, by all means. I like the stringiness and the gooiness of mozzarella. Okay, we'll go back with our onions. We'll get all these in here. And now for our sausage. Now, this is pizza sausage, okay? You can find it in most grocery stores. It is downstairs. However, if you can't find it, if you don't want to bother with it, any form of breakfast sausage, regular sausage, however, it needs to be cooked first, okay? These aren't going to cook very long, and it takes a risk anytime you put a raw product in the center of something and you try and bake it. So I will tell you, if you do use just a bulk sausage or any other form of sausage, make sure you cook it ahead of time. But with these, set that out of the way. You don't want to put a whole lot in. You're looking at about a teaspoon in the middle. Yes, it is pre-cooked. We'll go through and load them all up. Now the reason I'm doing these complete from start to finish is because I really want you to see how long it takes. Okay, now we're ready to fold them in half. So you want to make sure you kind of squish everything to the center, stretch it out to the back a little bit if you can see overhead, and then just fold it over and pin it down. Once you pin it, just kind of press it around the edges and keep moving on. As you're folding it forward, and it's hard to see, when you grab with your two fingers and you pull forward, use your thumbs and actually push the product back into it. I'm sure some of you have filled raviolis or little types of pockets or pizzas before. Pin the dough between your two fingers and then use your thumbs and scoot it back into it, and then as you fold it, it keeps everything in the centers. We'll get them done. Extra piece of sausage. Now, what happens if you don't get it all in the center and it comes out the edge a little bit? Nothing. It's just going to leak out on your tray a little bit. Makes it a little harder to clean your pan, but I'm pretty sure it's going to taste just the same. Now, we just got all 10 of those made. What'd it take us? About 3 or 4 minutes? Okay. It's a good, quick way to do things. I heard somebody say about kids or grandkids, it's actually a neat way or a fun way to kind of get them involved. They can make their own topping, they can add their own things. Most of them are just going to want cheese in them, great. But like with last week with the Boy Scouts here, when they make it, they tend to enjoy it more, they tend to be more prone to eat it or try it. And it's a fun way for them kind of do their own thing. Lay them on a sheet tray, we're going to throw them in the oven. Now, for those of you who have not been here before, and I see 1 or 2 that I'm not quite familiar with, this oven is the most temperamental thing on the planet, okay? So the times on the sheets may vary a little bit. It's set at 400. We're going to load them in there. And we're going to set it for about 15 minutes to start. And we're going to hope it gets us close. I'm going to take all of our little pockets. I think I have enough for everybody, actually. Sorry, I was counting. I can actually do that with my shoes on. Now the bottom of that one got a little dark.
That oven was getting really hot on the bottom.
I know. We'll go through them and get the lightest ones off.